I really don't want to review this movie right now. The Iron Claw, starring Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Lily James, Harris Dickinson, is the true story of the inspirable Von Erich brothers who make history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling in the early 1980s. Through tragedy and triumph under the shadow of their domineering father and coach, the brothers seek a larger than life immortality on the biggest stage in sports. I'm going to first get it out of the way that I'm no huge wrestling fans. I haven't heard of the Von Erichs before. I think I had heard of the Von Erich curse before, though. But I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, so the only reason why I really went to see this movie is because I thought that the trailer was amazing. The song choice for the trailer was amazing. And I love Jeremy Allen White. And as mentioned before, I'm a massive A24 fan. And the reason why I said that I didn't want to review this movie at the start is because of what this movie really makes you feel. I got home after seeing this and just kind of laid on my bed for a bit and thought, like, I really don't want to review this movie because I'm just sad now, and was very just depressed lying on my bed for a solid 10 to 15 minutes. And then I finally got up and decided to finally sit down and do this review, mainly because of what this movie did make me feel. And I think that it did an absolutely phenomenal job at making you question some things. It definitely made me question a lot of things. And on top of that, I think it's an absolutely phenomenal story, extremely well acted. But with that out of the way, I'm going to try and structure this a little bit more and get into the more specific positives I have about this movie. Starting with the good, I think that almost every single performance in this movie is spot on. Zac Efron should definitely be getting some Best Actor nomination buzz because he was absolutely phenomenal in it. But Zac Efron's character, Kevin Von Erich, made me feel something that I really haven't felt in any other movie this year. Just the amount of pain that he's able to endure, and the way that Zac Efron is able to portray it in the character of Kevin Von Erich is brilliant. It's phenomenal. Lily James as Pam Atkinson being there to support him and seeing the turbulence of their relationship was phenomenal. And then the actual wrestling itself was phenomenal. I saw this movie in Dolby, so the sound was probably a little bit better than what it is in just a standard theater. But when they were in the ring and when they were at wrestling matches, it felt like you were there because it was so loud in there. And again, that might just be a Dolby thing, but it still made me feel like I was in the moment and really made you feel like you were there, and did a really good job of shooting the wrestling sequences and adding a level of believability to the emotions behind it, because there's one specific fight that Kevin Von Erich has where you know that that's not scripted, and that was very, very, very real, and you can tell and you can feel it through the screen, through the sound, through everything that this movie does. It's able to portray so much so well. The soundtrack, I mentioned it before, but it was perfect. Blue Oyster Cult using Don't Fear the Reaper. That's one of my favorite songs of all time. But the way that they intertwined the music with one of the characters, Mike Von Erich, was phenomenal. I thought that there was a lot of very, very, very clever and smart song choices, just listening to the lyrics and knowing Mike throughout this movie, just seeing what he's able to do and how he loves music. And honestly, his character and his story is by far the most depressing part of this movie. And that's honestly like one of the main reasons why I was completely destroyed by this film. This movie's also paced extremely well. It flew by for me, and I didn't really have any issues with the pacing whatsoever. Now let's get into the only minor negative that I have, and that's Fritz von Erich, the father, who is definitely kind of the antagonist in this movie in some certain ways, but he's also still a part of the family. But the performance behind that role, I felt like it was a little bit over the top, and that might have been completely intentional to show like just how detached he really was from his kids. Because there's multiple lines in this movie where it's where he or the mother says, "Figure it out between yourselves." Whenever the brothers are talking, like they are very hands off on certain things, but very very hands on, and honestly too hands on other aspects of their life. And again, that could have been very intentional, but Fritz von Erich, I don't feel like that's a way that fathers usually interact with their kids. And again, that could have been completely intentional. It I'm just not sure if it 100% hit home with me, and I'm not 100% sure if the performance worked. The performance definitely made me not like Fritz von Erich whatsoever, but I'm not 100% sure if I took away the full meaning of what they were trying to go for. That's all I really have to say about this movie, guys. Let me know what you thought of the Iron Claw down in the comments below, or have you even seen it? I know I'm getting this out about a week before it goes into wide release. It's a very thematically rich, very deep, very sad, very depressing movie, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's going to be ending up in my top 10 of the year. It was an incredibly well made film, makes you think a lot about some aspects of your life, and I cannot recommend you to go see this movie enough. So, with all that out of the way, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know what you thought of the Iron Claw down in the comments below, and we will see you in the next movie review.